Tonight on Trading Shots, we wrap up Division A, break down Division B, and figure out who, if anyone, can stop the rise of Rise. Merc here, and I've got Benson and Clint with me. Let's get to First Blood. Week 6 of the Pro League is over, Division A is done, and we've seen some interesting developments in the last 2 weeks. With playoffs on the horizon and champs just over a month away, you both made bold predictions last week. Ben predicted Epsilon's first win. Maven, you predicted FaZe into top 4 and EG's collapse. Ben, you won last week, so you're up first. Let's hear your final thoughts on Division A.
Clint, it's rare I give you compliments on this show, but I must say, fantastic call. I witnessed the collapse of EG before my very own eyes. Before my own eyes.
Hey, you got Epsilon right. We can give each other credit from time to time.
It was brutal. It was shambolic. It was terrible. I ran out of adjectives when I was casting them. I didn't know what else to say. They had the fate in their own hands, and they weren't able to take it. Then on the flip side, Team Envious, how are you losing to Epsilon? Really? Really? I mean, come on. We're talking about teams which we really expected to go on a big run, contest for playoffs, and just teams not performing how they should. And of course, again, Clint, congrats, you called FaZe making it towards playoffs. I know they were desperately watching the EG game. I heard them screaming more than I heard the players when I was casting that game, but a phenomenal run. And I'm actually very excited to have our Stage 1 champs, of course, competing in Stage 2. For me, I'm truly happy that we get to see them kind of try and defend their throne, if you will.
For me, this was kind of like a tale of 2 teams that fell apart and a tale of 2 teams that kind of really stepped it up down the stretch. I mean, the failure, obviously, EG and then Envy for me. Both teams come back in their final 2 weeks, and they go 2-5. They struggled. You know, Envy's losing to Splice, losing to Epsilon. Teams have been playing very poor. And then we saw what happened to EG. They couldn't come in and get a win the final week. They'll put the opening there for FaZe, and FaZe took control of it. And for the 2 teams that really stood out in a good way, I think Echo Fox and FaZe, man. Echo Fox go on that run. They win 4-0 in a week. They go from 7th place to 2nd place. You saw what our past champs could do for FaZe Clan. I'm really excited for playoffs. I'm kind of happy FaZe is there, just considering the pedigree of players on the team and what they were able to do at Stage 1. But, yeah, basically, a couple teams crumbled. A couple teams really stepped it up, and we solidified our top 4.
I think it's worth mentioning one final thing as well. We're expecting that Rise Nation Red Reserve matchup maybe for the next couple of big major events, and it's one we're very excited for. For me, Red Reserve, their CTF flag tower specifically, they have to fix that.
Well, every single one. They tried switching it up, and in London Docks we saw, Arden Forest we saw. Finally, we saw them win on Arden Forest CTF. It seemed like they had a bit of a role change where they tried 0 out in second AR. It was
bad,
tough couple of weeks for them in CTF.
It was very brutal. You're watching it thinking, you're supposed to comfortably be the #1 team in this division, and then what happened? You saw so many times series go to game 5, the start of reverse sweep started to occur. So for me, I just wanted to touch that because I think that is a very important thing that we must.
You're right. They look vulnerable. They look vulnerable at times. I know they still finished with the top record. They get into first, but they didn't necessarily perform how I expected them to after the Anaheim run, but they're still in first, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of both of you guys, both of your bold predictions. I didn't know if Epsilon was going to do it. I mean, there was just there was too many important matches in Envy. They just gave it away. It was a day where they had 2 games. They played Epsilon their second time around, and, well, Epsilon, they finally take that win. They finished 1-13, but, hey, that's better than 0-14. And then FaZe, they do it with the help of EG. Not putting up anything, only beating Epsilon, only beating Splice. It was a crazy couple of weeks of Division A. It was a lot of fun. I'm excited for Stage 2 playoffs. And for that, I'm both going to give you guys 1 point. It was a great introduction. It was a fun last week in Division A. Now I'm excited for Stage 2 playoffs, but let's move on now to Quickscope. Division B is back on Tuesday, and that means some of the league's biggest names will be facing off. Maven, last week you said the CWL's true contenders were in Division B. With that in mind, I want to know what teams are going to shine in Week 7. APAC teams, Tainted Minds and Mind Freak showed some promise in Anaheim, both finishing top 8 with some impressive wins. Do you think that momentum will carry through next week?
I have been very critical of the APAC region, especially heading into Anaheim and kind of the first part of Stage 2, but I do think there's going to be some momentum carrying over. Now, there's too many juggernauts in this division. They started out too slow. Mind Freak at 2-5, Tainted Minds at 0-7. It's going to be almost impossible for them to get to playoffs. But do I think both have the opportunity to play spoiler and improve big time? Yeah, I think it's a couple things. One for Tainted Minds. Sometimes when you're a new team to a pro league, just knowing you can beat top teams is a big part of it. Just getting those first victories helps you a lot from a confidence standpoint. I think the 3-0 over Echo Fox, the 3-0 over Envy that you saw at Anaheim, and then also beating Epsilon, I think that's big for their confidence, and I think they're absolutely going to play spoiler. They're going to come in and beat somebody they shouldn't, and people are going to be shocked, and it might change what we see in the top 4. And then for Mind Freak, what it really boils down to it's funny because this has been something we've talked about, a million times. Like, back when APAC teams were making runs at champs, it was all search and destroy. They surprised people in search, blah, 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 blah. You finally saw that team in Search and Destroy at Anaheim. They went 9-2 in Search. They had 3 of the top KDs in the top 10 in Search and Destroy. They were the best win percentage in Search and Destroy. If they can keep any of that going in, they're going to surprise people. Because think about it. You have teams that are weak in Search and Destroy. You have a team like OpTic Gaming, a team like LG that went 3-7 in the first couple weeks. There's definitely upset potential through Search and Destroy. You don't necessarily have to be brilliant in hardpoints. Look at a team like Rise Nation. They won the tournament because they went 8-2 in Search. They were 7-7 in hardpoint. Granted, a lot of those losses came to Red Reserve, but I'm saying you can get it done through Search, and I think they're going to find some upsets, Joe. I do.
All right, Ben, let me know what you think about the APAC teams.
Clint.
I'm usually the APAC hater.
I mean, come on. Come on. Like, let me preface with, I'm not taking anything away from what either of them did at Anaheim. Fantastic results. Really, very, very proud of all the APAC boys. I think they watch the show regularly. I know they've voiced concerns about our opinions several times. But I'm sorry, you've dug yourself so deep into a hole, it doesn't matter. Then you talk about strength of schedule, week 1. Oh my Lord, some of the teams they have to play, I think it's LG, OG, and Rise, week 1. I'm sorry, but there are 3 teams who, here in the Pro League, they're not going to go slow. They're not going to go light. All of them with big points to prove. LG, I mean, they're a little bit on the cusp, let's be honest. OG want to solidify their spot, and Rise, they're trying to prove they're the #1 team. I mean, for me, these APAC teams, I just don't think week 1 is going to go very well for them. Have they improved? Yes. Is there upset potential? Yeah, sure. But guess what? Epsilon had upset potential, and they didn't win a damn game until the last one, which ironically knocked Envious pretty much out.
You think Epsilon have more upset potential like Mind Freak? I think you're out of your mind.
No. I think they have more upset potential than Tainted Minds in the league.
Sure.
I think that's fair to say. Mind Freak, yeah, I expect them to win a couple of series, but you expect Mind Freak to beat Tainted Minds, right? So
listen,
they're going to get an extra win there. Can they beat the likes of Complexity? Sure.
I helped out Mind Freak a couple weeks back. When I called them out big time, especially before Anaheim, called them out big time, said I was done with this team, I'm over it, blah, 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 blah. I know, talking to the guys, they were actually watching that video before series because it pissed them off so much. And what did it do? In some way, it sparked them at least a little bit to try and prove me wrong, be able to talk trash back to me, get some wins.
All right,
I saw them after the top 8 finish. I was like, all right, boys, let's get it.
That's great, but now you're going up against the best of the best week 1. But you can watch the video of you talking crap to them all they want.
They're gonna get
It's
some
not
upsets.
gonna help them.
I'm telling you, the way Mind Freak and Tainted Minds perform is definitely gonna alter that top 4. They are gonna get some upsets. They're gonna be a big part of altering. It's too hard to argue they're gonna get top 4. They're 2-5.
It's impossible. I think we can both agree with that.
I don't Mind Freak's impossible at 2-5, but it doesn't look good. Especially with the way the top 4 teams have been playing.
It's impossible.
No, it's definitely going to be tough, but I am excited to watch both of these teams. But you both had some good points. Obviously, Ben, you bring it up. Just a 2-5, an 0-7 start. Who's really going to be that one? But Clint, I like what you said about the Search and Destroy and Mind Freak. Mind Freak is a team that they were beating some of the best teams in the world.
No, they were just beating them. They were blowing teams out.
Close. They were always close in those series. It came down to that Search and Destroy, and I think that's why they got that top 8 finish. Mind Freak, to me, yes, they have a tough week, but I think they're going to make an impact on this division.
I do want to say, before you dish out any points, Joe, because I like where you're going.
Yep.
If Mind Freak was a Division A team, absolutely, Clint, points. You get a point. You get as many points as you want. They're a Division B team. Where have they been in the last few weeks? They've been back in Australia.
I know, but Ben,
you're telling me that you're telling me they had the same practice? Absolutely not. That has proven historically to be pretty detrimental to the Australians.
It's been something that's plagued them. But Ben, remember, we have a lot of teams in this division that aren't great in Search. I know you have Rise, who's incredible.
That's wonderful. But those teams that haven't really been great at Search have had 2 weeks to practice against each other and thus get better. Mind Freak,
they're practicing Search, are they?
They're practicing, right? Who's Mind Freak and Tainted Minds going to practice against? Each other? Probably not.
All right, well, I'm going to give up some points now. Thank you, Ben, for your second opinion.
Joe, I want to tell you ahead of time, thank you for my point. Ahead of time, thank you.
You're welcome. I am going to give Clint a point.
Oh, let's go, Ben!
None over to Ben. Here's the thing. It's a confidence thing for both of these teams. Do I think Tainted Minds, they should win a series. They should find one against maybe a Complexity, maybe even against the Mind Freak. We'll have to wait and find out. But Mind Freak, to me, they're 2-5. I don't think they're going to make playoffs, but I think they're going to make a run for it. I'm excited to watch these APAC teams go to work. Formal's new squad, Luminosity Gaming, is showing some promise after the team placed 3rd in Anaheim. Since you're his biggest fan, Clint, how will they stack up against the competition this week?
I think a lot of it comes down to this first match. I think they stack up well, but they play Unilad first, and that is big because LG started really, really slow. They were 3-4. Obviously, have a lot of work to do. But think about their improvements for their first 2 weeks to Anaheim. So their first 2 weeks, they're 6-5 in Hardpoint, 3-7 in Search and Destroy. They turned that to 8-5 in Hardpoint, and 7-3 in Search and Destroy. So at Anaheim, they really, really turned things around. We've heard about how much they've been grinding. I think LG is a team we see in the top 4. When I was doing Hot Mic and we looked at the playoff potential bracket with how things were, and not seeing LG was just weird. Whatever their roster is, they've been top 3, but pretty much throughout the course of the year, every major tournament. They've been so consistent. I think they stack up well, and I think they're going to make a run without question. Now, who are they going to hop? Unilad, United? I don't really know yet, but they're definitely going to make a run.
Yeah, I think so as well. You bring up that Search and Destroy stat. Obviously, when you talked about them coming into Division B, they basically said their first couple of weeks, we've played no Search and Destroy, right? A brand new team. That's definitely one they've improved on. Ben, what do you think about LG?
Clint, you say they're going to make a run without question. That I'm not sure about. Are they going to make a run? Yes. Is it weird to see them not in the top 4? Yes. Do I think they're going to make top 4? Yes. But for me, it comes down to maybe one game on the final week. I think that's really going to be the difference maker. Have they improved? Absolutely. I think they look great. But that first game against Unilad, that sets the tone so much. If they lose that game, I think their mindset may go out the window. I think maybe they lose some more series that week. They really have to kind of recover and potentially go on a big run. But to the point you made, I think this squad is just so stacked with talent and so stacked with experience that they have to make playoffs, right? They almost have to. It'd be so bizarre not to see them in the top 4 come the end of a few weeks' time.
I think we're all looking forward to kind of the grudge match with them and OpTic Gaming, too, because think about it, when you have the team change that goes down, then OpTic coming in 3-0 smoke them in the league. LG obviously get the last laugh with the top 3 run and beating them at Anaheim. I'm looking forward to that third matchup because obviously we love the storylines there between Scump and Formal and Octane, everything that's gone down. It should be a lot of fun, but I can't see a playoff without LG in it. I just can't. My gut tells me they're definitely making top 4.
Obviously as well, you mentioned their S&D improvement. I know their hardpoint improved. It is worth mentioning, even though it's not a lot, their CTF kind of did fall a little bit. They go from 5-2 to 5-4. Not a massive difference. But for me, the key stat really, in terms of that kind of going down, is Formal's actual individual stats. He goes from a 1.26 to a 1.06. Something maybe not quite right there. But is that going to be a massive point for concern? Not really.
No, this LG team is just stacked from top to bottom with talent, with so much experience. But yeah, I think you guys both brought it up. That first match against Unilad, this is kind of a trap week, I would say, for Luminosity. You play Unilad, you play Mindfreak, and then I believe they also have Tainted Minds, right? Not the toughest competition, not your Rises, not your OpTic Gamings, but they have to beat Mindfreak, they have to beat Unilad. Mindfreak is a team that's chasing them, and then Unilad is a team that they're trying to catch up to. I agree with both of you. I'm going to give you 1 point because, again, this is big for Luminosity. Just to, go 3-0. Just set yourselves up for a very tough second week.
Think about this LG team, too. I mean, historically, I feel like whenever it's a team like a Mindfreak or an Epsilon, they go to a Game 5. Like, it's happened so many times where they have to have these crazy come-from-behind victories where they have to, like, reverse sweep a Mindfreak team all of a sudden where you don't expect it to be that deep. So, could it be a trap week? Yeah, I could see that, but I don't know, man. I got a feeling this LG team's going to come in and smoke people.
Yeah, really just that first game. Look at open events, right? Time and time again, their first match at open events. They've gone to Game 5 with Mindfreak multiple times. They went to Game 5 with Epsilon. That first match versus Unilad, you know Unilad is going to bring the heat.
Wait, real quick, correct me if I'm wrong.
Will have to.
Luminosity smoked Unilad at Anaheim, right? They were the team that knocked them out, weren't they? For top 4, yeah. So they obviously, it's been a while. It's been a couple weeks, but they can do it. We've obviously seen it.
Yeah, we are looking forward to that first matchup in Week 3. Then there's E United, currently 4th in the division. They could do well, provided Glacier doesn't get lost in the trees in Hard End Forest. Ben, how do you expect them to perform in the next 2 weeks? Like that one?
That's a good line, Joe. I like that one a lot. E United, I just don't know with you anymore. I really don't. You know, you look at the first half of the stage. They come out week 1. Woo-hoo-hoo! E United's here to play. They're winning the division. Week 2, what the hell happened? We don't know. Then they go to Anaheim, poor performance there. Now they're back. You look at the strength of schedule for E United. It's a rough first week. They're going up against some of the better teams, which, yes, they had success week 1, but since then, we've seen almost a decline. Now, I don't want to rule them out completely because I think that's very unfair. I think you have to give them credit. They're currently in 4th, right? But I mentioned earlier on when I was talking about LG. I think they're going to be in that race, and I think United is going to be another one of those teams. A big thing for me is how United ironically performed. If United wiped the floor with a lot of teams, United is in some serious trouble because then it's basically United versus LG in my mind. And
yeah, here's the thing.
LG have that.
United's sitting at 5-2, so is OpTic Gaming.
Exactly.
Right? It's going to be tough. You have to look at United and LG.
Yeah, and for me, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on United to come out and play extremely well and almost kind of repeat business from what they did week 1 and just not make any mistakes at all come their second week and more importantly, their final week of the division.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I didn't know. I said I thought LG was going to hop in. I didn't know what team I had falling out. At first, I thought United, but now I'm deciding in my head United. Now, let me make the argument.
You're insane.
Let me make the argument.
Please stop.
Let me make the argument why I think they're going to do this.
Can I take a timeout so he can think about this?
There's a couple things.
Stupid.
What was the one thing that United did really well when you think back to the first couple weeks? They would lose to the teams they really shouldn't. They beat all the top teams.
I don't know.
So you mentioned they play the top teams this first week. They play OpTic, LG, Unilad. They have to come out and play 3 of the top teams. So one, you have the narrative that they beat the top teams. They played to that competition level. But even if they come out and struggle in the first week, what was the narrative back to stage 1? When United's back are up against the wall and they have to make that crazy run, like an Echo Fox type run, from a 7th to a 2nd type run, United's the team that does it. Clayster type team is the team that does it. There's too many things here I can sell to myself.
How long ago was
either
stage
United come out and have a good first week, or they're put in a position where they have to make a run in the second week, and they have an easier week that week, and they can do it. United's somehow going to come in top 4. Unilad drop out. LG's in there as well.
Can I be the judge momentarily, Joe? Because that's negative every point.
Hey, what happened with FaZe? What happened with FaZe, big boy?
What happened with Epsilon?
Oh, well, that didn't even matter. I argued the 5 and 6 team was going to get over a 7 and 4 team.
I don't hear it, Clint. Unilad is comfortable. Unilad is comfortable.
So is EG at 5 and 2. So is EG at 5 and 2.
That's true. Yeah.
No.
They were 5.
Listen, I know my point, stupid Ben, but it's going to happen. The Maven Magic.
An EG collapse is very, very different.
Yeah.
Very, very different than a Unilad collapse.
You're not wrong, Ben.
Especially considering the teams in this division.
It's still going to happen. It's still going to happen. Top 4, Rise, OpTic, LG, E-United.
So Maven
Bam!
Going with Unilad dropout. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for E-United. But I kind of agree with Ben here. I mean, it's so tough to say. I think
I'll be honest, I do too.
Yeah. I think the biggest.
I love this Unilad team. I just have a feeling.
Unilad is 5-2. They're so confident right now. First of all, they had the surprise factor, 5-2. Everyone's like, okay, teams are going to figure that out. They get to Anaheim, and they smoke teams. They knock out OpTic Gaming in that Game 5. They have experience. They have talent. They're so fun to watch. I just don't think Unilad is going to be the team that's going to drop out.
Benjamin Button?
Yes.
Sometimes I have that feeling in my gut.
And I've given you
my brain screaming.
I have given you credit where credit is due with that feeling, but that feeling also told you Envy was going to be a championship and a historic squad. That didn't happen, Clint, did it? Huh?
Hey, no, listen, I'm right about 20% of the time. But sometimes, that 20% of the time, my gut tells me something's going to happen. Do I think with my brain, my giant, beautiful brain, that Unilad's going to be in the top 4? Yes, I do. But my gut, my insides, the middle of my belly, tells me somehow they're not. I'm an idiot.
We'll have to watch. E-United is obviously a team. They are known for sort of their crazy finishes, their surprises. They put the pressure on themselves time and time again. But after that, I have to give Ben the point because, I mean, you heard Maven right there. While he believes in his gut, his insides, as he says, that United is going to make it alongside LG. He knows that Unilad has a lot of potential. He believes they're actually going to make playoffs. So I'm excited to watch this whole thing play out with Division B. Now for our last segment, the last chance to score some points. It's time for the Grand Finals. It's been well documented that on this show, Rise Nation is nearly unstoppable. But there have been some wild upsets throughout the World War II season. Everyone loves an underdog story, so gentlemen, which team has the best shot at putting an end to the meteoric rise? Clint, start with you.
I think there's anyone that has a chance to take over the #1 spot in this particular division, it's got to be OpTic Gaming. And what it boils down to for me is how good they've been at Respawn. Ben, you're laughing, but think about this. Think about these stats. Joe, you can too.
I'll think about
They went 11-1 in Hardpoint, 6-2 in CTF, and 4-5 in Search at Anaheim. Those numbers can win championships. If they can just literally turn that like 4-5 into a 5-4, they can win an event. It really comes down to that series with Unilad where they lose the 2 Search and Destroys. But I just feel like this team's going to have to click and search at some point. They're going to put some time in, talk it over. They've been so good in Respawn. They are the best Respawn team in the game, I think, by a wide margin. I don't think Rise ever stood out as like this dominant hardpoint team for me. It's really been their search and destroy, CTF as well. I know Red's great at hardpoint, but they've been bad in CTF. They nail both those bubbles. If they can just pick it up and search and destroy, I know that's been a problem for OpTic Gaming historically over the last like 3 years.
But feels like that's all we talk about with them. When are they going to pick it up?
If they could do it, though, I think that's the only team that has a chance to maybe hop into the #1 spot. Also helps they're in second.
I love the fact that you picked a team that hasn't won a championship as well at all this year from that division.
Wait, whoa, we're just talking for #1 division right now, right?
I'm just saying the simple answer to this. The simple answer to this. It's no one. I'm sorry. Rise Nation are the best team in the game. I have said this week in, week out. It is as simple as that. You talk about impressive numbers. Well, I got some numbers for you as well. You want to talk about hardpoint? Well, in stage 2, guess what Rise were? 10-1. You want to talk about S&D? 7-1. This is a team who is just insanely stacked. Insanely stacked.
Joe, can I cut in for a moment?
Absolutely.
I'd like to flash back to the episode before Anaheim. The final question was who's the best chance to beat Rise at Anaheim? I actually said no one. Ben over there said Red Reserve.
I said Red Reserve.
So he's just a contradicting little pile
Hold
of
on.
poo.
Which division is Red Reserve in?
Hold up.
Sorry. Are you getting confused with the divisions here, Clint? Is your old age getting to you,
I'm
Clint?
saying I was the one that said no one could beat him.
I was the one that
said no one could beat him.
All right, let Ben finish.
Rise Nation.
You cut in. Ben,
Rise Nation are by themselves. Their biggest competition is back home in England at this point. Like, they have nothing to worry about. Nothing whatsoever. It is as simple as that. They are on an island by themselves. They are a tier above the
Can
rest.
you give me something, Ben? Maybe one team if you had to pick one?
No. I flat out refuse to.
Joe, I'd also like to remind you
#1 team in this division.
that when I used this same argument before Anaheim, you didn't give me a point.
I know I did. That's why.
And I've made this same argument before as well on the show, and not won a point. But the best part about this is, Clint, when you made that argument, you were right. When I made that argument in the past, I was right.
Rise
if history is going to repeat itself, from things said on this show, I'm going to be right.
OpTic has too much potential, though, man.
Clint,
they are lights out in hardpoint.
Clint, I would rather be correct and not get a point from Joe than wrong and win a show.
I'd rather be bald.
I'm taking the moral high ground.
I'd rather be bald than have red hair, Ben.
All right.
I don't think that's true.
We're getting personal now.
That's true.
I mean, yeah, it's obviously tough. Both of you guys, I think, bring up, I think, really the only 2 points that you could go with. For Rise Nation, it's do they beat themselves, right? I think that's what Ben's trying to talk about. We know, though, the one thing that sort of scares me with Rise is they don't have the toughest week 1 when they come back. So I don't want them to give up a loss. We know we've talked to Rise that at times TJ can sort of let go of the gas pedal. He's a big stage player here. It's a little bit different. But if there was one team in this division, I don't think it is Unilad. I think you look at the respawns, I think it does have to be OpTic Gaming. And OpTic Gaming have to steal a search and destroy. That is going to be the toughest thing for them.
It isn't easy for them ever, is it?
It never is. I mean, what? They were at, 4 and 5. It's not good. It has to be above 50% when you look at championship winners. Search and destroy wins championships.
Can you honestly sit there and tell me when Rise play OpTic Gaming is winning that series?
I think they have a chance.
I think they have a chance, yeah.
All right, well, give me a percent.
Listen, I'm not saying they're going to. I'm saying the question was, is there someone that can? And I think if there isn't one that can, it's OpTic.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree
completely disagree.
in this division. I also think sort of it's who can overtake them. While LG is a team, if they're on, I think they can beat Rise Nation, but I don't think they can overtake that first place. Yeah. The only team for me is OpTic Gaming because you know OpTic is hungry. They still want to prove that this roster move was the go-to. So I'm going to give this championship point to Clint. Ben, yes, I agree with you, but you had to give me something. I know. I appreciate it. Football's at least coming home.
It is,
That's
Joe.
Right.
Football's coming home.
But this time, it's Clint who's going to be our winner. All right, fellas, strap on your A40 Astro Gaming headsets. And since Maven, you won, you get to put on the special edition Trading Shots A40 TR headset. With that, it's time for the Smack Talk Winner Circle presented by Astro Gaming. Maven, take it away.
I feel bad that I know I've gone at EG a couple times recently with their Anaheim performance. I was very frustrated. I'm going to lump 2 teams together here that I'm frustrated with, and that's going to be EG and Envy. Take a look at what they actually did in Anaheim. Nothing. You're looking like top 16 type of results these guys put in, barely able to win series. Then they come in, and you're thinking, oh, poor Anaheim result. They can pick it up, look forward to stage 2, and make some things work out. Neither team showed up. You have Envy losing to Epsilon and Splice. You have EG only beating Epsilon and Splice. It was just a It was a pathetic performance. And I know I said that I thought FaZe was going to make that run. I really thought they had it in them, but that doesn't change the fact that it shouldn't have happened. That was my bold prediction. It was a stupid call. FaZe was 5-6. EG was 5-2. It should not have happened. I'm disappointed. At least you guys have champs to look forward to, but that was just, frankly, it was pathetic. Now, as far as one thing to look forward to at Division B, guys, come in with a fire. I just want to see some insane matches like we saw in the final 2 weeks from Division A. It came down to the wire. It was very thrilling, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Division B squads.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I already think it's set up that way, right? I think a lot of people coming into Division B thought, oh, the top 4, we already know what it's going to be. Unilad's not going to perform that well. Mindfreak, they didn't have the best week. Complexity, a team we haven't talked about too much throughout this episode, but they turned it around that second week. They didn't have the best Anaheim, but we'll have to see if they can cause some upsets. This Division B, a lot closer than a lot of people thought. It's going to be a great couple of weeks, but shots were traded and CWL was debated. We'll see you next time.